So I'm coming from that background, right? So where it was floppy, then CD, then DVD, now then pen drive, now it's cloud, right? And interesting to see that how this entire transition happening.
So what these servers basically do is that they are placed strategically at nearest locations, right? So if let's say we are sitting here in Delhi or Noida region, the nearest server to us would be our CDN provider, content provider basically.
That's in terms of B2C, the human related things, right? For B2B companies, big house companies, they are uploading their data on AWS, which is Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, all sort of, web services are. Hello everyone. Welcome back on this wonderful podcast where we talk about SaaS, technology and all those things which you wanted to know. So I'm Pratik Pandey, Head of Business Growth in Tracker.io. I'm also creating this kind of content. There's one more channel where we create so many SaaS content. On this channel, we always talk about technology and related to SaaS, which is behind the curtains. So we have Ashish. Ashish is a head developer. What is your designation?
I'm a full stack developer.
Ashish is full stack developer in Traco. Ashish is working with me from last 2 years, and we are now going to talk about cloud, what exactly it is, how it works, what is the function, all sort of things. So you'll get aware about how this SaaS function on cloud. So Ashish, welcome to this podcast.
Thanks a lot for having me.
So first of all, how you are feeling being on this podcast?
It is good. It is kind of explaining what you already know. So it's kind of a revision for me as well.
Is there any feedback on your last podcast? Cause you looked amazing. The thumbnail was good, and people love the content. By the way, people love the content.
I kind of got good feedbacks on that. So
from whom?
From a couple of colleagues and friends.
I'm more interested in friends.
They were kind of shocked because I've never done content like this before. So they were kind of shocked to see, but they kind of gave a good response on that.
So you are on 7th cloud kind of with this kind of feedback and all?
No, not really. Kind of like to stay grounded.
Okay, so related to this, what is cloud?
Okay, so cloud, you could think of cloud as your friend's computer. So let's say you have a bunch of files, your data. It could be music, it could be software, but these are not
It
saved.
could be anything else.
Yeah, it could be any kind of video that you want to save. So you could think of it like a friend's computer. So basically what happens is that your own files, your data, music, videos, softwares, all these are not present on your own local device. These are present somewhere else. Now that somewhere else is basically a computer that you could access over internet, right? So you don't have to keep all those files on your own local hard drive, and it won't take your space, right? So that is what cloud is basically, having your own data, having your data somewhere else that you could access from anywhere, anytime you want. Only thing is that you need an internet connection for that, and that's basically it.
Okay, so I can put my all the data on cloud and it's getting stored somewhere else, right? So it's not getting stored on my laptop or my mobile or something like that. It's on cloud and I can access that whenever I want.
Whenever you want, wherever you want.
Why anyone would like to keep their data on somewhere else?
Multiple reasons. Firstly, let's say you don't want to buy like expensive hard drive, right? Because storage is basically having a cost, right? Its own cost. So if you have a 500 GB laptop and you don't want to store like movies and all, right? So big movies, 10 GB videos and all of this, you could basically store them. People have old photos and all, like they kind of want to maintain a complete gallery. Now they don't want to use their own space. They could save this somewhere else. So that is one of the reason, is that you don't have to give up your space for your files. So you can store them somewhere else.
Okay, so if I put it in a simple language, that means earlier days we used to had CD, DVDs and
Right.
cassettes for movies and all. Now we have Netflix,
Right.
Prime and all sort of things, right?
So basically you could say that if you wanted to transfer a file to your friend, earlier you would be using a pen drive, right? Now you don't have to use a pen drive. You could basically upload the file on, there are services, Google Drive, iCloud and all. You could upload that file over there and your friend can download it from there. There's no requirement of a physical device.
I'm coming from an era of floppy and then a CD and then DVD and then the pipe drive. Pen drive.
Yeah.
Pen drive. It's a pipe drive is another CRM software, guys. Okay. So, so I'm coming from that background, right? So where it was floppy, then CD, then DVD, now then pen drive, now it's cloud, right? And interesting to see that how this entire transaction happening, right? So when we transfer any data in any hardware device, I can see that I'm putting that in hardware, and then that hardware getting connected to laptop, and then these people are copy pasting in their hardware, right? How really this cloud works, how this data get uploaded there, how this getting stored, and how anyone can download those data.
Okay, so it is basically a complex architecture that is being followed here, but I won't go into the complexities. In simple terms, if I have to put, is basically you take your file. Let's say I have a 10 GB file, right? Now what I would do is basically I would subscribe to a cloud service. This we can talk about later on. I subscribe to a cloud service, I upload that file there, right? Now it is present on a computer that I can access remotely, basically via internet. It is not on my personal computer, it is not on my personal storage. It is somewhere on another computer that I can access via internet. Now when the file is uploaded on that computer, it will have a link. That link is basically the address of that file. So if I have a file on my desktop, it has a address, right? Like maybe C drive / your user / desktop, like that. That file that you have uploaded on the cloud, which is another computer, it would also have an address, and that address you can basically share. Now you can like think of it like if you want people with that link, can those people access the file or not? That is basically what you set while uploading the file, and that is basically how cloud works. It is not your own computer, it is a computer somewhere else that you can access via internet. You upload file there, it stays there, and then if you want to share it, you basically share the link with someone else and they can access the file from that link. That is how the whole cloud thing works.
Interesting. So you were saying that via internet I upload this data on some storage, and those stories get logged, right? And those stories link can be shared with someone else. So basically I'm creating multiple addresses for sharing this kind of data, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, so whenever I put out data on that and create a new link or maybe new address,
you don't have to create a new
it's
link
auto
manually. Like this address that I'm talking about is basically the URL of the file.
Oh, great.
Right. So basically you just put that URL on, like if I am uploading a file, I get the URL, I share it with you. You can put that URL in your own browser and you can access it if I am letting you to access that file.
So what exactly this cloud storage works? What is the concept of it?
So cloud storage is basically bunch of computers, right? And these are not your own computers. You upload your file and it stays there. Now imagine you have tons and thousands of those computers together at a place. What you would call it now is a data center. Companies like Google, Microsoft, Amazon have these data centers across the globe. So the data centers have a lot of computers like this that can save your file over them, and you can then basically access it. So whenever you upload your data, it is going somewhere in some data center around this globe.
Okay, so we talk about Netflix and movies and all, right? I would also like to know about how so much of movies, so much of data available online. Whenever we search, it's present, it's coming, it's without interruption, it's running, right? The quality is good, the sound is good, right? So many things are happening. Take example of Spotify, right? Or maybe YouTube, right? How this kind of visual presentation and data consumption, right, storage, how this works, how Netflix works.
So let's take example about YouTube, right? So when you watch a YouTube video, that YouTube video is not present on your own local device. It is present on another computer and that you are accessing via internet. So when you want to watch a video, you're basically sending a request to that computer. That is basically a server on the cloud. So you send a request to that computer, and that computer accepts the request, processes it, and then starts sharing that video file in real time. So basically you could think of that the file is being transferred in real time from that computer on to your own local computer so that it can be displayed on your web browser. And to make this faster, CDN services are used. Now this is a separate topic. This is not related to, like, we don't have to discuss this, but to make, because since videos have to be kind of low latency, right? You don't want to basically have a laggy video, because you could think that since it is being transferred in real time, it can have certain lag. It is not like you're downloading a video, right? Because download speeds can be like, okay, it is fine when you're downloading, it is fine that speeds kind of getting fluctuated and all. But when you are watching a video in real time, you don't want to like have that buffer, right? So YouTube or Netflix, these use CDN services. CDN basically means content delivery or distribution service. So what these servers basically do is that they are placed strategically at nearest locations, right? So if let's say we are sitting here in Delhi or Noida region, the nearest server to us would be our CDN provider, content provider basically. So if I'm watching a video, whichever the nearest server is for our location, that is from where we would be receiving the video file, right? So that the latency is reduced. Latency is basically the speed of transfer, right? So we want to reduce that so that we don't have any buffer while streaming music or YouTube videos. So Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, these kind of have their own CDNs.
Wow, that's so many things behind the curtains and so many things running up, right? I would also like to know about that. If anyone wanted to build a cloud, can they build a cloud?
Yes, they kind of can build a cloud. And now this is very technical. Let's take an example of your own home network. Now by home network, I mean, let's say you have Wi-Fi, right? You have Wi-Fi and let's say you have 3 devices at your house. All these 3 devices are connected to the Wi-Fi. Now these are forming a separate network. These are obviously connected to the internet because of the router that you have, because the router is basically directly connected to the internet. But the router is making that connection available to all other these 3 devices. My phone, if I'm connected to a Wi-Fi, my phone is not directly connected to internet. My phone is first connected to your Wi-Fi router, and that Wi-Fi router is basically connected to the internet. So the smaller network that we have right now is the router and the 3 devices that are connected to the router, right? Now here comes the picture of like exposing the IP address. Now this is kind of technical term, but I'll try to explain it. Let's see. Each device that we have has an address, right? We have a smaller network of router and 3 devices. Each device will have an address. The router also has its own IP address, and this address is what we call IP, Internet Protocol address, right? Now what we can do is, let's say I want to access file of let's say you have your own laptop, I have my own laptop, and both of the laptops are connected to Wi-Fi, right? I want to access files that are presented on your laptop via my own laptop, right? So what we can do is, we have the IP address of your laptop, we expose that IP address on this smaller network. Now whenever I want to access the files from your laptop, I basically ping your IP address, right? There are certain configurations that obviously we have to do on your laptop first, so that it can actually even like allow, because for safety reasons, obviously it's not like if I have your IP address I can do anything I want. That is obviously not possible. There are certain configurations, and these are very technical terms, but so basically you allow your content to be available when it is being accessed via an IP address. So when I ping your IP address, I can get some content that I want. So this is a small cloud that you are talking about, right? I can now upload the content that I want on your own computer, and I can access it from your computer. Now this is cloud that I'm talking about. I want to store some files, but I'm not storing in on my own local drive. I'm storing it on your own computer via the network that we have.
Wow, so many crazy things. I mean, I could not imagine that how technical it is and how hard it is to manage the entire database and all sort of things, right? The cloud and all sort of things. Isn't it like that, having a magical store where you can put anything, everything, and still the space is same, right? I mean, the infinite stage is there.
That is why it is actually called cloud, because to users, we don't want to refer, like it is kind of difficult to let the users understand how it works. We cannot throw terms like servers and computers all the time to them. So we just say cloud. Cloud is basically the abstract term used for a network of servers like this.
And we have majorly 3 big companies in this cloud segment, right? One is Google Cloud, second is AWS, Amazon Web Services, and third is Microsoft Azure, right?
Yeah, right. There are other as well.
iCloud is also there, which is used by Apples and all, right? So this is how Apple devices are connected to each other. So whenever you are storing a data in your MacBook, that is going on iCloud, and that can be accessed by your iPhone or some other iPhone and iPad, all sort of things. And this is the Apple which we call ecosystem, which is basically based on iCloud, right? Same with the Google, right? So if you are using your Gmail account, you can access all those photographs in your laptop and mobile, same, because you have already uploaded that on Google Cloud. That's in terms of B2C, the human related things, right? For B2B companies, big house companies, they are uploading their data on AWS, which is Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, all sort of web services are there. A fun fact, let me throw you a fun fact, the SaaS gyan, that if take an example of companies, right, who is built by Amazon and the competitors of Amazon, everyone maintaining their data on AWS. So take an example of Netflix. Why I'm talking about Netflix again and again? Because I wanted you to relate. So all Netflix movies are stored on AWS, right? Amazon Web Services, and Amazon Prime movies are also stored on AWS, right? That's a fun fact, that this AWS is so big that even competitor cannot ignore, and they have to put their data there, right? Now, whoever talk about the data, privacy and all those things, this is one of the biggest example that cloud is secure. Even competitors are putting their data, right? Netflix is not a small company. It's huge, and they know if there any kind of destruction happen, they will be the first who will go under the bus, right? And that's how it is, right? So if you are worried about your data is not secure and blah 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 blah, so dude, you cannot stop anyone to steal your data. But again, you have to trust companies and you have to come on cloud, and this is how you will fly in SaaS. I believe that we are in so much confusion about the SaaS, cloud, and all this kind of services, data house, server. Everything boils down to one point, that if you wanted to have a software which is easily accessible, that should be rooted from the cloud, and that should be a SaaS, right?
Yeah, because if I'm building a product or a startup, let's say, I don't want to manage my own data. Like it is managing data is basically meaning that I don't want to manage my own servers. Like I don't want to buy physical servers and configure them so that they can be accessible on the internet. Instead, because my business is different, like I'm not into this business. My business is different. I want to focus on that. So what I would do is I would like to outsource this thing. I am fine with paying some monthly subscription fee and having all these services already being provided to me. So that startups basically use this a lot.
Okay, whenever Ash is talking about building a server, let me give you an idea that how these servers look like. So imagine this as a server kind of, what do we call it? Racks, right? And these all books are basically hardwares, right? And this is how exactly it looks like. Instead of there are so many colorful books, you will see the black hard disk, which is a bigger version of it, right? And there's so many wiring coming it from behind, right? And you have a routers, and you have a that Ethernet cables related to your computers that is connected in. Nowadays we use Wi-Fi, but there are Ethernet cables, that blue cables which join to our laptops and computers. You're putting data, those data going with those wires and getting stored in this kind of things. So that's called a server, right? This is what it is.
Yeah.
Aziz, what do you want to talk about this cloud? I mean, what exactly you wanted to say about the cloud, which you can imagine that this is how cloud future looks like?
cloud future is kind of everything is mostly going to be on cloud. Like if you could imagine, a very simple thing was to store data on your file. Earlier you used to actually download music and you used to actually have them on your phone and then you would be playing it. But nowadays that is like hardly, you won't find a lot of people that actually have music stored on their own phone. People use Spotify, people use different music softwares from the Play Store or App Store they download. So this has basically elevated to a lot of other things as well.
Yeah, I'd like to add on this point, right? So earlier I was worried about my mobile phone storage and all sort of things. Now I'm not worried because my photographs, videos are on Google Drive. I paid good subscription to Google. All of my documents are on my G Drive, right? All of my contacts are on my emails. And there are so many things, so many other database also I'm using. So for sharing this kind of file, I'm using WeTransfer, which is a cloud data transferring file, data transferring software. So just people like me who is more into tech, or maybe any other people, right? They are not checking their photographs in gallery. They're not storing those photographs in their phone. Now they're uploading it on Drive and all sort of things. So this is what you are referring to, right?
Right.
Okay, Ashish. So we covered a lot, right? We covered that what exactly cloud is, how it works, how the storage concept works, what actions this cloud works, right? And how this streaming platform basically works with the CD and all sort of things, right? What else about cloud? What do you want to say?
So cloud is being used not only for like listening to music and videos and all. Now it is also being used for gaming. So we have cloud gaming now. We have services. We have services that basically allow you to play games that are not actually present on your own computer. So if I want to have a good gaming experience, I don't have a need to download that game, because games are firstly they can be of huge sizes, 50 GB, 60 GB. We have 100 GB of games as well now, and they are expensive obviously, and they can take, like, it is possible that your PC might not be able to handle those games. You might have a low end PC or not very good PC, right? But you still want to have a good gaming experience, so you could subscribe to services, cloud gaming services. Now we have Nvidia's cloud gaming service, we have Xbox and all. So what you basically do is you subscribe to those services, and these games are installed on a computer, remote computer. Now these are on cloud, right? Now what you basically do is you subscribe to those services. You have their own like UI, you have like software. You open that software and there are multiple game options that you have. You basically play the game. Now this game is not being run on your own system. It is being actually run on the computer that is present on the cloud, and that is being streamed to you.
So everything from business to D2C to B2B to SaaS to YouTube, Netflix, Google, iCloud, everything is on cloud and everyone is moving to cloud. And once you have uploaded this all data on cloud, it will be there forever until unless you're not removing that, right? And this thing's gonna be there, and that's how you can access it from everywhere. You can share this with everyone, and this will be the best place to keep your entire storage, or all sort of things, right? That's amazing. Wow. So guys, if you like this content, if you have learned something new, please make sure that you are subscribing this channel, you are following Ashish on LinkedIn, following me on LinkedIn, because we also keep creating written content on LinkedIn. We have other things to do. If you wanted to join a community, there is a link in description. And yes, if you have other query related to this kind of computing and this kind of tech related questions, if you want us to talk about that, please feel free to comment below.